All right, hello, Lovely Tang here, aka your mama on a mission. All right, and we are about to embark on chapter 21. Ooh, ooh. This is called The Launch. Chapter 21. The quote says, when a group of individual minds are coordinated and function in harmony, the increased energy created through that alliance becomes available to every individual mind in the group. When a group of individual minds are coordinated and function in harmony, the increased energy created through that alliance becomes available to every individual mind in the group. Napoleon Hill. Chapter 21, The Launch. When the last piece With the last piece in place, having Sharon Letcher at the helm of the book project now moved rapidly. Buckland's yacht party only verified that Greg was on the right track. He felt a renewed excitement about the book. It was as if someone had written a script for him. Sharon continued lining up interview after interview, bringing in new faces with new messages and igniting their excitement for the project. More importantly, she set up meetings with her contacts in publishing. Just as the junk man had sought expert counsel that brought him millions, the new author was following the same path by the new association with Sharon. Suddenly, people with whom they shared the proposal nearly fell out of their chairs in anticipation. Starting there couldn't be a better time for a project such as this. Stating there couldn't be a better time for such a project as this. They pointed out that every time you opened the newspaper across the nation, the headlines read economic disaster, housing bubble burst, foreclosure set new record, bankruptcies increased 300% in 18 months, corporate mismanagement continues, government bailout needed, global recession without an end in sight. With the stock market in shambles, there was overwhelming agreement that the world could really use this new book. It would provide hope and guidance from successful business leaders of the current generation who will who willingly shared how they had been able to persevere and keep their fire of passion burning despite adversity. How by not giving up, they were able to allow their miracles to happen. On one of their weekly calls, Sharon updated Greg and Dawn on her progress. Excuse me. Hi, Greg. Hi, Dawn, she said as she joined their call. I just got off the line with another publisher. They also agreed that this is a great time for a book about helping people maintain a positive outlook through these dark economic times. Even without prompting, they mentioned that Think and Grow Rich was published during the Great Depression, that it gave millions the hope and courage to find the confidence not only to survive the depression, but to build great new business that brought financial stability back to their communities, business that created great personal wealth. I hope that our book will provide that same hope and courage to people today. It will, Greg shouted. In fact, I now realize more than ever that the very nuggets of wisdom we wrote about were what kept me going through the tough times. Actually, Sharon added thoughtfully, I was facing a personal challenge of my own when this project came along. But it's hard to feel sorry for yourself and think that you are all alone while you're constantly reading and rereading what these great leaders had gone through themselves. I thought if they could persevere, I could too. Whenever I had a particularly challenging day, I would focus on this project and find the courage and the faith to keep going. Sharon continued, in fact, all of these experts had tremendous faith in common. They had faith that if they found their passion, applied their talent, and took action with the right association, eventually a good thing would come to pass. Just like you, Greg. Even in your darkest hour, you found the faith to keep going. In fact, I think we need to add faith to be part of the success equation. It's what binds all the other pieces together, she added. So now the equation would read P plus T times X times A plus F equals success. Don said, I couldn't agree more. Faith is an essential element of perseverance, and it's the secret sauce of the success equation. I am confident that this book will provide the hope, faith, and courage that so many people need today. Now we just need a publisher that agrees with us and has the same faith we all do, Greg said hopefully. Agreed, and it appears as though the various publishers I've talked to are finally starting to get it. Now, let's see who steps to the plate and becomes the voice behind these great leaders, Sharon said. Buckland asked us to give him and the others an update when we hear back with any offers from publishers. Okay, let's set up a meeting next month. That should give us time to hear back from everyone we've met with. The pages of the calendar flew by until the date of the meeting arrived. Greg and Sharon met Don Green and the great John Buckland in the World Capitol Building's boardroom. Buckland opened the conversation. Okay, kids, let's hear it. What's the status of the project? Sharon answered, and the fact is, we didn't get a single offer. The shoulders of the guests dropped. We actually had 4 offers, she continued with a smile. They all cheered. That's wonderful, Don Green said. Which one are we going with? Great question, Greg said. Sharon passed out a schedule of the publishers and their respective offers, along with a detailed spreadsheet. Over the next 3 hours, the group argued, discussed, and debated the opportunities before them, weighing each pro and con until they decided on one final organization. This is it. This is the one, Don said, pointing to the thoroughly marked grease board before them. Do we all agree that this is our publisher? Agreed, they all said in unison. Let's show them our appreciation by getting out there and really promoting the book in a major way, suggested Buckland. We owe it to them, we owe it to the people you interviewed, and we owe it to the folks who are getting to read this book and create value from the messages within. Green added, let's make it a huge success as a tribute to Charlie. Charlie Jones had lost his battle with cancer just weeks before this meeting. The 4 people around the conference table bowed their heads in agreement with fond memories of Charlie. Each said a silent prayer in his memory. Then, in his accustomed boisterous manner, Buckland barked, well, what are you going to call it? Knowing that the question would be raised, Sharon and Greg stood and walked to the head of the table. As you know, Mr. Buckland originally suggested to me, I have jotted notes from every interview and recorded almost every moral learned along this ride, Greg said proudly. With that said, the title seems quite obvious, Sharon put in. She took the notepad and slid it across the table like a schooner of beer in an old West saloon. Everyone read the words handwritten on the cover of the notebook, which itself was stained and dog-eared from constant use. They laughed, applauded, and agreed. That's perfect. As they stood to say their goodbyes at the conclusion of the conference, they shared warm hugs and words of appreciation. Buckland came over to Greg and offered him a token that only he would understand. In a matter-of-fact way, Buckland handed Greg the very same jacket that Greg had returned to him at his office when they had first met. Here he was.
Hey everyone, Jill Chisholm here, and super excited to jump on tonight and share loud and proud about all our amazing Black Friday promos.